I finally had a good week at work. Hey everyone, and welcome to my weekly check-in vlog where I take you along for the weekend to see how I'm doing and what I'm reading. This weekend, I'm going to be very lazy and mostly organizing and planning because even though I had a good week at work last week, finally some progress and felt like I could actually do something and achieve something. So that was good. But I started the week of very brain foggy and exhausted, so I decided to take next week off. So next week I'm not working and I basically want to reset, rest and get a lot of things done. So I need to plan for that. That's what I'm going to do this weekend. I'm also going to read a lot and be lazy and hopefully catch up on some shows that I started. I've been having some strange reactions of anxiety to next episodes and I need to overcome that because it's annoying. But first, let's go running. And I'm not really motivated to go running, but that's the good thing about habits and routines. You don't need motivation to do the thing. So I might not go far, but maybe a short 5K run around the block or park. And I started listening to Oathbringer, the third book in the Stormlight archive finally. I'm not very far. I basically listened to the introduction and all the acknowledgements and thank yous in the beginning. So I think I listened to half an hour. But even though I put it off for a very long time, because it's 55 hours long, even speeding up, that is long. I'm currently listening to 1.7 speed and that feels about right now. But the longer an audiobook is, the more I speed it up over the course of time because I get used to the talking. So who knows how long I take. But anyways, enough starting rambles. I'm going to go running now. Running too fast apparently and I'm barely moving. But my heart rate is too high. Or they'll tell me I need rest. Yes, I need rest. I love how I just keep pretending I'm fine, even to myself. I got back from my walk, had breakfast, and I got hit by a wave of sad and back pain. So I basically stared at YouTube for a bit too long. And I tried making goals for August, looking at all the goals I made for July, which I have not done. I did really bad on my July goals. I also did really bad on exercise in July. I started tracking or writing down monthly how many calories I burned through activity as a measurement for how active I was or how much I exercised and to see how that affects my general mood and energy and whatever. So it's not really precise. I think every time I track an activity on my fitness tracker Garmin, the Garmin watch I have, and it tracks the calories I burned during that time as activity calories. And I did a lot less than other month and I've been feeling very tired and I keep being confused whether I'm not doing enough or if I've been doing too much. I find it very annoying that the reaction to doing too much and not doing enough is basically the same feeling. You're tired and exhausted. So it is confusing. But I think I want to lie down a bit and read before I need to leave the house. And I need to leave the house today because my friend is on vacation and I'm watering her plants. I'm actually not so sad about the strange weather we're having. I think the weather is on an emotional roller coaster as well. It's raining cats and dogs 1 minute, the next it's sunny again, and then it's raining again. And it's been doing that for weeks now. So the balcony flowers are getting watered, so I don't have to go over there every other day, which is good. But I have to go today. And I'm going to have to do food shopping while I'm out there. And I want chocolate. I want all the nasty things today. And because I'm nice to myself, I can buy all the nasty things today. I should just eat something before I go to the supermarket again so that I'm not hungry and buy more than I can eat. Or stuff that I think looks nice in the supermarket and at home the person who has to eat it is actually looking at the food thinking, what was I thinking? Anyways, what am I reading currently? I'm after the debacle with David Foster Wallace overwhelming my brain, I got home and started on I think it's The Stars of Chaos. I can never remember titles when I read them on Kindle. Bad. It's steampunk Danmai that I came across. I read The Guardian by the author before, which was a very fun series that I really enjoyed. It had 3 books. It was magical things and fantastical elements in Asia. I don't remember the details, but I remember that I enjoyed it. And I'm currently thinking maybe I should have just reread that series, because this one I'm 130 pages in. It's the first of, I think, 5 books. And yeah, I'm a little bit confused. And I think I got myself into another misunderstanding story. So basically, we meet a young man who doesn't like his mother and has, for some reason, a godfather who is basically, he doesn't hear and can't see well. So, but then barbarians attack, and all of a sudden it turns out our young little main character is supposedly cursed by his mother and a royal highness, a lost prince, and his godfather. You remember I said he can't hear well and he can't see well, and he's basically described as an annoying bum, is some kind of general and a hero. That's where I left off and fell asleep last night. And I am enjoying it. I am also enjoying the steampunk parts, although I always wonder if I don't have a correct assumption of space or if translations is wrong. This is translated from Chinese, and I don't know which kind of Chinese. Couldn't say if it's Mandarin or Cantonese, sorry. But the translation, I wonder if they sometimes, I have that very often, that time and sizes are confusing. There's apparently an airship of 1.5 kilometers, but then it lands on an underground river in the city. But then it lifts off again. But 1.5 kilometers? I mean, I'm a runner. I know how far that is. How can you have an airship this size? And how can you have an underground river where something like this can land? Unless it's just like 20, 30 meters wide and 1.5 kilometers long, then I can believe that. But other than that, what kind of river is that? And how do you have like it covered? It sounded like, that when covers split apart and then the river is visible or whatever is hidden and then it closes again. We've seen all of that in films where helicopters go down, whatever. But that's not 1.5 kilometers. So I'm confused about that. But other than that, they have interesting armor that can do a lot of things. But also there, it's like the armor, they have heavy armor and light armor. And the heavy armor is a lot stronger, but a little bit more clunkier and heavier. And there they say it's double the size of a normal human. But all the fighting and the things that are happening sound more like 1.5. I would believe 1.5, but double the size of a normal human, and normal humans are in there steering them. It does sound a little bit confusing how people with armor fight with people without armor, although now I'm thinking of Pacific Rim. Those things were huge as well. Maybe I should rewatch that to get a better idea of sizes. Not a good idea. Anyways, I am sort of enjoying this, but there is a lot of misunderstanding foreshadowed already, because now that we know there's the High Prince, he thinks he's not the High Prince. His mother is trying to fake it, but everybody is still treating him like this, even though he said, like, no, I'm not. And his mother cursed him to be mistrustful of everyone around him and to be a bloodthirsty leader. I need to read that curse again. Maybe I should write it down so I don't remember it. But starting that he's showing mistrust and questioning his godfather, even though, yes, he lied about his identity, but everything else seemed to be true. And we already know there's going to be a relationship between the prince and the godfather. That's foreshadowed, even though the prince right now is 14, 15. I'm a little unsure about that. I think it used both numbers at points. And The Godfather is like 7 years older. So we're going to have to wait for them to grow up a bit. Before something happens, it's 5 books. Sometimes it's very annoying when you can foreshadow everything without reading a synopsis. I did not. I read the word steampunk and priest as author. And I was like, I'm in a mood for something fun and not challenging my brain. Let's be honest, the writing is not challenging my brain. There is a little bit too much told instead of showing, but then again, I think that what's making it so easy to read. I was thinking about showing and not telling recently because I saw an Instagram reel about some writing course. I don't know why it hit me, but it was interesting about literally visually putting up the difference between showing and telling. So instead of saying they have anxiety, you describe the feelings and the emotions that anxiety produce. Logically, of course. But putting it this visible, it was really easy. And that's what made me notice it reading this book a little bit more because I paid attention. Sometimes I can do that. I've been rambling on a lot about nothing really. Well, that's what happens when I'm tired and want to talk about books. I'll read a little bit now and then I'll go out and buy food. And to you, I'll talk to you later. It's almost 7 p.m. now, and I had a good afternoon. I spent a lot of time reading, but then I was falling asleep while I was reading, so I thought, take a nap. But then I wasn't sleeping anymore. Oh well. But I got up, went to my friend's house, took care of the flowers, went all the 5 flights down, was worried I didn't close the tap, so I went all the 5 flights back up to check, and of course I turned off the tap. And yeah, that's my brain recently. A little bit spikes of anxiety. Then I went food shopping and the sun came out and I was like, oh, this is nice. So I bought myself ice cream and went to the park. I didn't really feel focused, so I didn't listen to any more of Oathbringer, but I listened to the new Postcast by Manson. He started putting out at the beginning of a month a really long episode about one topic, and then there's a 30-day guide of community where you can work through the things that you've learned and improve on that part. I always go into the things and listen to them and think like, when things calm down, I'll do the 30-day thing if I'm interested. I remember the last one with on emotions. I listened to that in Hamburg. That's why I was surprised that this is already out. Yeah, I am actually on track on podcast for a first time in a long time. But the emotions part, I don't think I'm going to do the exercises. The procrastination one was nice. The values one, I've done values before. So I think it was nice to refresh it, but I didn't feel like doing the exercises, just like with the one for August, which is happiness. And I'm wary on happiness. I don't agree on happiness being the most thing you want to achieve. I remember clearly in university, I had a discussion with a friend of mine that she was like, I should be more happy. And I was like, I'm happy with content. I just want to be content with things instead of thriving or striving for happiness, which in my opinion is a short, fleeting moment that can happen easily. I do feel a lot of happy moments. Running, for example, always makes me happy, but it also makes me miserable afterwards. What a hard word. Anyways, so I was always vary on all the things. I do like the ideas that you can get like the little things that improve your mood, because we all know I'm moody. And what I really liked about this episode, it's about 3 hours long, so it takes time, is that they also say the pursuit of happiness is not the most thing. And they go through a lot of studies and a lot of data that was made about happiness and the things we know and we think we know about happiness, or like the happiness country, how that data actually is put together and what questions they ask to find out which country is the happiest and why Finland apparently wins a lot. So, and all the things there. And what I really thought interesting, that's one I didn't know, is that apparently you have a baseline happiness. And they were always like from 1 out of 10. And they said a lot of things is that you're naturally around a 7, and even if something good happens, you bounce up to 10, but you bounce back to 7. I've heard that part before, that winning money makes you happy for a short amount of time, or short-term happiness, but you always go back to level it out. So you get used to things. It's the hedonic treadmill. But it also works the other way around. If something is extremely miserable and hard, you drop in happiness, but you get used to it, so it levels out. But I always thought that we were all on a 7. But they said that studies show that our baseline happiness differs from person to person. And that explains something where I've always felt like I wasn't meant to be happy. I don't feel happiness as an overall long state, a very easy one. But, well, let's admit it, I am baseline sad. And this really made it sound like it's just okay to be like that. And I've never heard that before, which is a nice thing to just know, like, okay, the level of sad that I'm basically dealing with to work with, that's what I have. And that is okay. That's my baseline. And if I can keep that, I'm good. So that was an interesting takeaway. I also really liked all the studies they put together. It's their idea is to do one podcast on a topic, so you never have to listen to anything about that topic again or consume anything about that topic again. And they are doing a good job. It's a lot of things I've heard before, especially if you are into this topic and you've done research or read articles and books about the topic in recent years. This will not be all new to you, but I always think, which is why I probably will still consume things about happiness, is that listening to things over and over when you're not studying them, but just, let's say, consume them, helps you remember them. And it also reminds you how far you've come. And I was just thinking a lot about how I'm doing this year with getting myself out of survival mode, because I do see an improvement to the beginning of the year to now. Yes, I'm having struggles with my work life at the moment, but they were also a lot of what they said was that happiness is not as important as having meaning and purpose, and especially with the job situation, my job doesn't have any meaning anymore. There was a purpose when I was still working with students, when I started at this company and this department, but now I'm working with software, which will in the future have more meaning when I'm working with people again. But right now it feels really meaningless and purposeless. So maybe that is also while I'm struggling to do and deal with the job and find contentment there, or be content with myself in the job, because the outcomes don't affect anyone. And that's probably why I enjoyed this week so much more and felt more accomplished at work, because for one thing, I made progress on something that I'm supposed to do, but I had technical issues a lot. So it was slow progressing, and it looks like after my vacation, I can finally start working on that thing. And on another side, I had very good discussions about the project and about things we were doing with colleagues, and I also helped colleagues, and that's a feeling I like. I like to be useful, but I didn't really feel it before. And everyone else around me is like, they don't expect more from me. I'm expecting more from myself. So this podcast also gave me a different angle to look at that and deal with that, because that's the part that I definitely need to figure out next week, how to be less worn out by the work, because everything else falls by the sideline. I read a lot less audiobooks in July because I didn't go to the gym. I didn't go out on walks. I rewatched a lot of shows because I was too stressed for new shows. And even though I said I want to finish started shows, every time I think about this episode, okay, I'm watching Kill Me, Love Me. It's a Chinese drama and it's a period drama. I like these kind of things, but I also know going into these that there is going to be emotional chaos. And one of the chaoses I tend to stumble upon and have like what is it? I don't know, the knack for finding is betrayal and misunderstanding. And it started off really good. I really enjoyed the show. And yesterday I came to episode 12. It's always between 10 and 15 where I find a stumble point. And so episode 12 was shifting in what people were doing. And you are on one side, you could call it enemies to lovers, but it's really, really not enemies to lovers in a sense, because it's too complicated. I don't want to tell you all about that. But there are usually 4 people, 2 men, 2 women, and the affectations, there's always 2 people in unrequited love and looking for things. Actually, there's a 3rd man who's in unrequited love. But there's the good people. Like there in this one, it's the good man, and he wants to protect the woman, but she's in cahoots with the other man that he thinks is the evil one and wants to punish her. But those two, the woman and the evil one, will be together, or should be together, because they really have good chemistry and they work together. And I like how the actors work. And then there's a childhood friend who's in love with the evil one, and this one is just, they don't know the person. That's always the thing. They are imagining a person and a woman that need help. It's very tropey in Chinese drama. So I know what I'm getting into. And I know that I have about 5 episodes until this will be solved and resolved and things will be less stressful again. But I kid you not, I had my heart racing in the middle of the episode when I realized what was happening and thought what would happen next. Usually I predict the right way for things to go, but it's a lot less dramatic than I always imagine. So I should just sit down and watch it and get it over with, because I really enjoyed the show. But I can't, because some part of my brain has, I think I have 3 modes for watching shows. Is 1, I want to binge them. I want to be sucked into them and really not think about it and not have a break. Then there are the shows where I'm so bored I can't watch more than an episode, or I abandon them. And then there are these kinds of dramas where I want to watch them. I'm totally invested, but I'm also too emotionally involved to actually manage. And that got me distracted and digressed from talking about the episode of the Manson podcast. Anyways, I think this podcast is really good if you are interested in pursuing happiness, and if it makes you feel bad about yourself. If you always feel like I should be more happy, I should enjoy this more. Why am I not happy? My life is good. And they have a lot of good things. And unfortunately, it's always like exercise, diet, and sleep. That's what they said in the beginning, and it's always true. And we all know what's true. It's a solution to everything, unless you, I don't know. Yeah. But they also mentioned, especially for happiness, that one of the things that showed effect or helped people improve their happiness is a gratitude journal, the gratitude thing, that you're being grateful for what you have. And yeah, I digressed a lot in this talk. I think I started off talking about a little bit how I'm doing better than in the beginning of the year, which is true. I am genuinely more resilient. I do feel more flexible again. Like going to Hamburg all unprepared, and I didn't even panic once about all the changes I made to the travel plans and the weather and the hotel and even the bad restaurant I went to last week. It really didn't bother me as much as if thinking back to when I started traveling after the pandemic again and going to Berlin. Ooh, if you've seen and remember that vlog, you remember how stressed I was. So I think I'm doing good. There are still struggles and stumbling points where I think I'm not exactly where I want to be, but I'm making progress. And I do appreciate that. And I also appreciate you checking in every week to see how I'm doing and accompanying me on this trip. And this vlog is going to be rambly, but some of you say you like that. So thank you for that as well. Now, I mentioned I'm not going to watch the show that I started. I'm not going to watch any of the other shows. I'm going to collapse on my couch and start a new show. It's with an actor whose name I can't remember, but I always like. So I'm hoping there are 8 of 12 episodes out right now. So I'm hoping to get caught up and have something to binge. I don't even know when the last 4 episodes are coming out. I hope not in 4 weeks, but in 4 days. We'll see about that. But I'm hoping it's something bingeable, less dramatic. It's some kind of law show. I'll tell you tomorrow. Sunday has been gloomy and doomy, so I went on a walk, listening to Oathbringer. I cannot say much about it. It's the 3rd in the series, and so many things are happening, so many names, but I am enjoying being back in the story, so that's a good thing. I also decided to completely leave in yesterday's rambling and took it as a sign that I really need more rest than I thought, because I usually have more control of myself and can at least censor myself in not blurting out everything that's going on up here. And yeah, so I tried to make a wish list, something for my staycation, and I ended up putting down a lot of consumption, like making progress on the series I'm watching, not with the goal of finishing. I need to do some errands that I need to do, but I am trying to not overplan and over-expect, because that's what I tend to do. I think I have a week, I can do everything, but I can't anymore. And I took the week off because I needed to rest and I needed a break, and I desperately need to do less. So that's the main goal. And I started yesterday, Law in the City, and as expected it was a lot less stressful and more enjoyable to watch. So that was nice. I also read more in Stars of Chaos. I think I'm halfway through now, and I hope the wind isn't bothering you. And I am thinking of trying to read at least one more in the series on my vacation, because it's easy to read, it's easy on the brain. That's the advantage of these Jancha, Danmai, steampunk stuff, things that are very simple in a way that is not too challenging for my brain, but it's not too dumbed down. That doesn't sound very nice for the book. I'm enjoying it, so can tell you next weekend more about that. Also, I can tell you next weekend how the week was. I'm not going to vlog it, and I'm going to end the vlog here because I'm out on a walk. It's afternoon already and I'm already tired. Let me know in comments how you're doing, what you're reading, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.